Whether you have been running your organization for one day or one decade, you've probably realized that any business, nonprofit, or organization or team is really just a hodgepodge, a combination of moving pieces, things that you might call systems or processes that are kind of just doing their thing, and together it moves the organization forward. I think we're on the same page with that now. If not, subscribe to this channel because we talk all about this topic. Once you understand that your organization consists of all these moving pieces, you might start to think, okay, if my business consists of all these little processes and systems, how do I know which of these processes or systems or whatever, which do I need to focus on right now? Which is the one that's holding me back? Which process or area of my organization is the problem, the weakest link? Well, in this video, I want to give you a simple 3-question framework to help you identify this. Okay, I know, a lot for one short video, but I think it'll be actionable enough that you'll be able to take away and make some change based on this, all right? The first thing we're gonna do when it comes to identifying what process is the weakest link, what process do we need to focus on, is identify what our processes are. Now, if you have been in your organization for a decade, you probably know what it is you do. If you are a newer organization though, this could be a bit of a challenge, but step 1 is going to be defining what you do. I have made a lot of content around this topic, so if you need help, go up here or check out the description where I have a long form training, totally free, that walks you through this process, okay? Because we need to know what we do in order to know what is not working. What this might look like is writing out in something like this, a list of all of the common recurring activities that happen in your organization. This could be things like having consultation calls, delivering kickoff calls, having offboarding sessions, having post-project reviews, creating YouTube videos. You get the idea. All of these different things that we're doing on an ongoing basis form the pipelines or processes of our business. Now, once you have done this, whether by using the exercises we have in the description or just thinking about, oh, what do I do? We are ready to ask the 3 questions I ask myself when I'm trying to figure out what process needs my attention, what process is or isn't working. The first question we're going to ask is, am I happy with the result? Yeah, this can be hard, especially for entrepreneurs or business owners where you're never quite happy with status quo. What we're going to do here is look at each process in our business and say, how happy am I with the end result of that process? If it's creating YouTube videos, how happy am I with the end YouTube video? If it's hosting kickoff calls, how happy am I with how those kickoff calls go? If it's designing websites, how happy am I with how that end website looks and how happy is the client, really? This is our first question. I would suggest that if you're doing this for every process in your organization, give yourself a ranking system to keep it in your noggin. So for this question, 5 is going to mean, wow, this output is amazing. I love the results we're getting. And 1 is going to mean, it's okay. I think there's some room for improvement here. This is going to be the first question we're going to ask ourselves to assess whether a process is working. Are we happy with the results? I do want to say when it comes to these results, this is a little subjective, obviously, but when we're thinking about results, we want to think in terms of value. Are we providing enough value out of whatever it is we're creating? Is it accomplishing the objectives? Is it making people happy? Is it fulfilling the project requirements? That's what we're talking about by results, okay? I think that one's pretty easy, okay? So we're going to move on to question number 2. Once you've identified which of your processes are making you happiest or not so happy about the results, I want to talk about the opposite side of the equation, the, let's just say, less sexy side of the equation. Let's talk about inputs. The question for this phase is, am I happy with the cost? Same scale we're going to do, 5 meaning, yeah, the costs are great. 1 meaning, oh God, these costs are terrible. And before you start scoring all of your processes, I want you to know what I mean by costs here. Cost in this case is going to be referring to the time cost, the financial cost, the energy cost, the sanity cost, the things that you are giving up in order to get the result. If you have mistakes that happen in the process or delays or arguments, I don't know, whatever might happen, those also count as costs in this simplified model. So let's think about the processes that you are looking at, and for each one, from a scale of one to 5, rank them for yourself. If you need help on this area, if you're not sure kind of where things fall, feel free to work with your teammates on this if you have a team around you. But for the example, let's just say creating YouTube videos. How happy am I by how long it takes? How many resources I need to do this? How much support I have? How happy am I on that? I would rank it from 1 to 5. Repeat this for every process that you ranked for the first question. Okay, see how this is starting to come together? Hope so, because we are now going to go into our third question. Our third process reflection, I don't know what we can call this, but our third one is there an unspoken itch? Now, I probably could have come up with a more succinct way of saying this, but our third question is speaking to the gut instinct. Because oftentimes, particularly with managers or leaders or entrepreneurs who have been around the block, and by that I even mean you've been doing this business for a few years, you usually have a gut instinct around what's not working. There's a certain area of the business that for some reason is bothering you. There's a certain team on the nonprofit that's making you think, something's just not right there. This last third question of assessing our processes is to address the gut feeling. For this section, we are going to treat 5 as my gut feels like this process is amazing. I give it a 5 out of 5, a high 5. That is what 5 is going to mean here. If your gut, however, is telling you, I don't know, something just feels off, listen to that and write a 1 next to the processes that make you feel that way. All right, and you've got everything in between, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is your range of information in order to put in here. So 5 is everything's great, I think it's great. 1 is something feels really wrong and I'm not sure what it is per se. Write that down and then we'll move on. All right, now that we have a subjective rating system for each of the processes that we've identified in our team or organization, all of a sudden the question of what process do I need to work on doesn't feel nearly as confusing. We have assessed our own understanding and tried to quantify it in a basic way by ranking things from 1 to 5 in 3 different criteria. So now we can just add them up. For example, if you had 5s in every one of these 3 categories, that process is going to score a 15 out of 15. It is excellent. It is a solid, perfect process. But if you're like me and you view your business as a constant work in progress or work in process, get it? Then you're probably going to have some processes in your business that score, 4 out of 15. And those ones with the lower scores are indicating to you what processes are not working based on your understanding of your team, your business, your organization, what have you. So when you have a lot of processes and you're not sure which one is the weakest link, these are the 3 questions you can ask yourself to quantify it a little bit and help you identify the stragglers in your business processes. Once you identify that weak process, use some of the other videos on this channel to start improving your process one step at a time, whether that is workflow improvement, delegation, training, automation. There's so many options here. It's the fun part, but it all starts here with identifying what process is my top priority right now. So if you want more information, check out the training in the description below. It's free. It walks through how to identify the processes I defined in this call that you're going to need in order to move on. And otherwise, I'll see you guys back here next week for our next video. Thanks for watching. And until next time, enjoy the process.